chime back in.
Yeah, we'll just start off again.
Yeah.
Good times.
Okay, you did tell me when you were on, Barry.
Yeah, I'm recording now, but
You're.
I just clicked it. It doesn't matter. All I do is I edit it from that point onwards.
All right, sweet as. Okay, episode 2, hashtag number 2, I suppose it is.
Hashtag number 2, mate. You can't call it that. It's a pile of shit.
Look,
yeah. So, okay, first of all, welcome, John. I'll get John to introduce himself a wee bit. Long-time friend and
First-time caller.
First-time caller.
you took the beat.
So yeah, look, we'll just kick this off. Like I say, it's nothing serious. It's just about having a chat, getting to know the community within New Zealand and Christchurch, and then going from there. So John, tell us a wee bit about yourself, bro, and like where you started and where you're at the moment.
Yeah, so thanks heaps for having me on. This is awesome. I watched the first episode and that cracked me up because lots of the good stories. And yeah, me and Bryan had a good chat afterwards, and we're just chatting about the different things. It's good to catch up, and I think it's amazing to do good things for the community. But I'll start my story. So yeah, I started back when I was 18, and I used to get my hair cut. Well, a guy, Stu Gray, used to cut me and brother's hair, and he was doing jiu-jitsu with Gary Dello and 80 and all that sort of stuff out of Timaru there. And Stu Gray said, "Hey, why don't you come down and check it out?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I'll give it a go." And so tried it out, and it was pretty. We sort of just learning off white belts because Gary Dello and Kirsty, who runs, she's a black belt now, who runs the Timaru jiu-jitsu down there. Her and Gary, I think, started. They were going up. They were traveling between Timaru to Christchurch because I was living in Timaru at the time. And I think they got a couple of tabs, and so I think they were gonna when they were together, they were gonna start a jiu-jitsu thing under Academy of Combat, and then I think Kirsty, she headed off to Aussie, so I never met her, but I spent some time with Gary, and so it was just pretty much a bunch of us hanging out and just going through different things. And most of the time, I remember when I started for the first 3 months, I was just getting taken down by 80, and I would get Americana pretty much for 3 months straight, and I couldn't do anything. And that's how my journey started. And so I was just given hiding after hiding. Had heaps of fun. And then there was a Brazilian guy, I forgot his name, but he come through, he was a purple belt, and he was working. And so we learned a little bit from him, and then the boys would teach me. And then I left there, and I went up north because my dad lived in Hamilton, and that's where I met Carlo. Yeah, and started. I met Carlo because a friend of mine, Davin Yu, we used to go to school together. He started training with Corey MMA because Corey MMA started at. There's a guy Phil who used to be. He was a blue belt at the time under John Will, and there was a couple that Carlo Meester was as well, and they had ground control out of this karate club, and then at nights when it wasn't on, they'd have Corey and would start, and so Joseph Hamblin and Carlo did that. So I started joining in there, did that for a bit, and then I left Hamilton and I came back, and that's when I met you, Hayden, through my brother. I was coming back in, and my brother's like, "Oh, I was living with him," and he heard through a friend. He's like, "Oh, you should go check out this club, Groundworx," and I was like, "Okay, sweet." So I met you there, and then Bryan, I think you were ill at the time, so I didn't meet you for a wee bit. You having the operation, everything like that. I sort of come in when you were sick.
I'm still sick, mate. I'm sick as.
Yeah, we're all sick. Well, we're all sick. And so we met then, and I loved it. We got pretty into it, and then over that time, Hayden, we received my blue belt under you. We headed overseas to Perth, and I had such a great time over there. It was amazing. And then I left New Zealand, Christchurch, and I moved over to Aussie, and I was in Melbourne there, and I went down for one class at Dominance, and then it was quite close to my house because I was in sort of Richmond, and Dominance was like up towards the top of Richmond. I was in the middle towards South Yarra. And then I got ill when I was overseas, so I got rheumatoid arthritis and literally couldn't train. I couldn't even walk properly. And So I was on medication, everything like that. So I was out for about 8 months, didn't do anything. And then heard Kit Dale was opening a gym. And I remember watching Kit Dale. You know, when we did that trip to Aussie, and I heard about Kit Dale, and we watched him in the black belt division. Well, he's brown and black, and he just cleaned up everybody. He got 4 gold medals. And I'd seen shit I'd never seen before, and I was like, well, this guy's amazing. And then you heard about him, and then I heard he was opening a gym in South Yarra. So I was like, I still wasn't 100%. And I was like, oh, look, I'll start training again. But I was still on some heavy medication. I wasn't walking right. This was no good. And so I went to see him, and I went in there, and then I remember I tried training, and I'd be going, somebody would go past my gut, I'd be lift my legs, my head would be going, lift my legs wouldn't lift. And I was like, nah, I'm still not 100% yet. So I had to wait. And then luckily I got onto this medication that just changed my whole life. And I literally went from not being able to walk until the next day I could walk again. Yeah, well, that too. Viagra's a hell of a drug. And so I got on that, not on the Viagra, but I got on some other stuff. And I literally changed overnight. And then I started training there. And then what happened is Kit, he decided it wasn't for him, I think. And he sold, well, when he passed it on to Absolute MMA, which Lachlan Giles had started teaching out of there when I went back after I got well. And then I pretty much just started training there and training hard with them. And then through that, met Giles, Craig, everything like that. And then I left now, come back, trained at Axis for a bit there. And then I went out and a couple of us boys, me, Hayden Smith, Kieran Smith, 2 brothers, and also Chris Carson. We started Oceanside Jiu-Jitsu under Craig. So, yeah. Yeah,
and haven't looked back since. I mean, I can remember when you first opened it, and obviously Christchurch went through an earthquake a wee while ago. So you guys were basing yourself down in South Brighton at the Surf Club, which was an amazing place and an awesome opportunity for you. You can see through a lot of your posts and that kind of stuff, after training, go for a swim and bits. But then obviously that had to get knocked down and you had to move into town. So how did that come around? And just like, was it a good move for you? Are you planning to go back? What's the go, bro?
Yeah, well, so when we first got there, we were we wanted to start saying, because we competed together, me, Hayden, and Chris and Kieran would go around, and we really enjoyed hanging out with each other and loved the vibes we brought. And we were having heaps of fun. We compete. We run classes as well, so we knew that people sort of like what we were doing, and we're doing good things. And I suppose we just said, let's just go out and do it. Then so we were down looking for a place, and you know how hard it is to find a place in Christchurch for the amount of shit the council. It's crazy. They almost make it impossible. So we've seen a surf club. We know that surf clubs are usually closed over winter, and so there was we were bringing around different places looking on the beach because we thought it'd be pretty cool to be on the beach. And then we happened to walk past one surf club and people up in there, and they were working, and we were like, oh, let's just go out. So I walked up and I was like, the boys, we were like, can we rent the space off you guys? And they were like, yeah. And so we discussed the price stuff, and we were like, yeah, cool, we'll do that. And then so we bought some mats, and we literally didn't even have mats. And when we decided to do it, and then, the mats came, we put them all down, and literally it just kicked off. And then because the surf club, was pretty run down and stuff, we tidied it up. They loved us. So we're like, Jesus, this has been the tightest this place has ever been, because you just like, clean the floors, and it's actually getting some love because they want to do a community thing. So a lot of people there really loved us, and then they decided that they were going to bowl it to rebuild it. And so they said to us, oh, you can't be here. And then we were like, oh, so we tried finding a place, but you know what it's like. The council will, even when you get a lease and the council, you can bring 20 people through the council and they can tell you different things. It's very hard to get a place. So it's an absolute nightmare. So we were looking around, and then Tim from EFC, thank God for him. He's an absolute godsend. Dude's amazing. He just said, well, use our space. We don't use it past 7 o'clock at night. We moved into town, and it's been a real good relationship there. Tim, he's all about helping out the community, and he's a good dude. So
just tell them Tim. So Tim who? Tim McElroy, yeah?
Yeah, Tim McElroy, yeah.
Yeah, just tell me a little bit about him. What does he do in EFC?
EFC. So Tim, he runs EFC there with his wife Nicole there. Oh, no, sorry, not wife, partner. I should say that.
Get it right.
I'll get a step that. But they're at the gym there, and they sort of run the kickboxing, and they have judo out of there. They have boxing. He's a black belt Japanese jiu-jitsu. He's been around for years. He runs fight events. And so he's all about the community. And we were just asking around different places to share mats, and he thankfully was like, "Yep, now I'll help you guys out." And so we help him out there, and he helps us out, and it's really good. We've got heaps of people coming through. It's a massive match space. We've almost doubled our mat space just by changing in there, and then people like the later nights, which is good. And so we just make it work, and we're loving it in there. So it's going real good. So who knows what the future holds, and we'll just carry on pumping and going hard, And,
Yeah. So you guys are for the ones that don't know, Oceanside is a prominently no-gi school. Is there a reason? Is it just you felt like there was a niche market for it? The 4 boys just preferred doing no-gi. You guys are under Craig Jones, and how did that come around?
Yeah, so it's crazy because you guys won't agree with me here, but I sort of hate the gi now more.
What?
So the interview's now over. Yeah.
I just got it. Get him out. But no, I just got thinking, it's holding the hands and ripped your fingers and stuff. That my beautiful good looks. Don't want to get the face rubbed with the gi and stuff. That it's like Bryan, he's so good looking. And we sort of because I was lucky enough. So I met Craig Jones when he was a purple belt. And Lockie and Craig, rolled those guys. That gym was full on over there. Those guys go hard. And I remember when you roll with people and you sort of feel like you might have a chance of getting a good position. I just felt I never had a good position. And when you roll with Craig, I've never rolled with anybody where you're like, this guy's a freak. He was just miles ahead. He was learning so quickly. And we made friends and we hung out. He'd started taking morning classes. I used to go along to his morning classes. He said to me, I come to mornings. I was like, nah, bro, I can't get up in the mornings. And he's like, nah, come on. And he took it over from somebody else. So I started sort of just going in there and joining him. We had a good crew in the morning. And so it was quite a tight-knit little crew because I was training quite hard over there. I was going like Monday morning, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, Thursday night. And then I would go Friday morning, Friday night. And then I'd go back on Saturday. So I was training pretty hard over there. And just managed to make friends with him. And then he sort of started to get famous as I was leaving, and Joel's had a good name already because I remember he beat Edward Najmi at an event in Aussie, and he was sort of beating Honey Yaya at EBI, so he was already sort of well known in Aussie. A lot of guys wanted to go train with him, and then so Craig just all of a sudden started to get real famous, and then when I left, he just blew up. And then when we started the gym, I was like, well, let's just do something different because it was, you guys have your gi going on, you got Access with gi, and then you got Roll One, they got gi, and Carlson Gracie, their gi. And so we were like, let's just do something totally different. We'll do no gi. And okay. I know, like me and Hayden and Kieran love no gi. Chris loves it, but he loves the gi. He's a big gi fan, so he struggles a bit because he wants to roll gi. But,
you still do roll gi though, don't you? You still do the church session?
No, we don't do Sundays anymore because we found there was just so much going on. But we used to train a Sunday church session. We called it church, but we don't do it anymore. And I suppose Chris tries to bring his gi down. But, it takes a lot for me to chuck it back on again. I'll do it for when you guys said you open mount, I come in and then I did one at Roll One recently and I'll wear it. But I try, you just end up, it's just more washing and. I found that since we started, you chuck a load in the washing machine, you get this big load of washing machine in the washing machine, and then you have this no-gi, it's just like drop a handful in there, you're like, oh, yeah. Sweet, and it dries quickly.
Washing your 2 gis and hear the
yeah.
So that machine's out, man.
If my dad watches this, I had this red gi. I put a photo the other day of this red gi, and my dad calls it a blanket. And remember, I bought it when we were in Perth. Hey, remember when we went to that shop?
Yes, because you like Victor because he had his one, but I think it's his pink, wasn't it?
I always wanted the pink gi because I thought, how funny would it be to go in and you roll with people and you come in and somebody's wearing a pink gi, you'd be like, oh, let's give this guy a hiding, and you give him a hard time back, and how demoralising is that when you're like, this dude's in a pink gi, and then
rubbing the pink gi in their face and shit.
Yeah, just rub it. And then you put glitter on it, just rub glitter in their face, all that sort of stuff. Ninja. And so it was always my dream to have a pink gi, and you got that red one, and that literally I remember it was like a horse blanket. My dad called it a horse blanket, and I chucked it in the washing machine, washed it when I was in Hamilton, and it killed the washing machine. Hey, it literally broke it. My dad's like still angry to this day about that game that killed the washing machine. But
the first thing you've got to learn is when you start jiu-jitsu, you buy a non-agitator washing machine, and it doesn't thump around. I learned that early on.
Yeah, I suppose though, when you live with your parents and they're just lucky to have a place, you're like, yeah, you don't use what they've got, kill their stuff.
My mum still sews my patches on my gi.
Does she?
Yeah,
Actually,
I'm 40 this year, bro.
I'm surprised she still doesn't wash it.
Yeah.
Oh, if I drop it off, I reckon she would, but she would iron it too. So I'd be all pressed, like a whoosh, like a brand new gi. It's awesome.
Everybody be like, I'm coming to get you now. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's quite cool. But so you were awarded your brown belt. Was it this year or last year?
Last year. So he come through.
End of last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, nice, bro.
Yeah, cheers, yeah. But I can't believe, I was just talking about it the other day to the boys, that you guys now have 5 black belts, which is, isn't it 5? No, you have more than 5, is it? Because you got you two, Bryan and Hayden, yourself,
yeah.
Forrest, John Erskine,
Jason,
and you've
and Scotty,
Jason Brett,
and Scotty.
Yeah, Scotty. Yeah, so that's amazing. That's so cool. Like, that just goes to show you. Remember when I started with you, you were a purple belt.
Yeah.
And look how much it's progressed, which is crazy. That's what's so cool about the whole thing, to look back at how we trained so hard. But I remember the training we would do and those mat drags and everything, and that half an hour warm up was crazy. I remember that. Hey, remember that guy who come in? He trained a different club. I can't remember. He popped through and he watched our warm ups and he's like, "No, I'm not coming." I said to him, "Bro, you're gonna come back after he had a." I was like, "No, I'm not coming back for that." He was not having it up. So I'm not doing it.
Yeah, but that's when I was young. When I was young, everything was awesome. I could do stuff, and now it's just like, let's do jiu-jitsu. Let's have a quick warm-up, get into it.
I remember Cam Steer came and trained for us for a bit, and one day I was doing a warm-up, and I thought, fuck it, I'll really kill everyone today in the warm-up. And I was setting up circuits, and I seen him park his car, and he seen me carrying weights, and he tried to run back to his car. I was like, fuck you. You always skip the warm-up in here. And he's like, I've got a hip and shit. And I said, nah, man, you're on today.
And I remember, you remember Stefan? That guy's a freak at jiu-jitsu.
Ridiculous.
And I remember back in the day, he would, like, he was all good when I think he was sort of studying and stuff like that. And he would train hard, and then, I was going and that. And then I remember he got a job with Sparky, and he was like, I'm not going to warm ups anymore. So Jesus Christ. And so he always shot half an hour late, but they would kill it. And then, the gradings were cool. And looking back, it's just nuts,
It's definitely cool, especially the way that jiu-jitsu is developed. And, like I say, the more schools that are here now in Christchurch and the people, and it's awesome to see, everyone doing their thing. One of your best memories, man, just jiu-jitsu, just one of your best memories to your time.
I'd say most of the trips we go on, like that trip, looking back now, that trip to Melbourne when we did that, where like I was supposed to compete, old Squeaky. He'll know what we're talking about. Hey, old Squeaky. We all know about old Squeaky. And just like, because you meet people like me and Aaron, we would train together, but you didn't really know them. And I remember when Aaron, Wayne and me, we went on that trip together, and I was supposed to compete, but I didn't. So I watched. That was good to see, a different side. Oh, Jesus, look at that.
Oh, I lost my can opener.
I think I need to go get one. You two keep talking. I'll be back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we did that trip to Melbourne there. And I remember you getting to know people like Aaron Wayne, watching him compete, and just having a good time. You remember that, Bryan?
Yeah.
And then even that night we went out and we were drinking, and I remember we were on the dance floor dancing around, and then I slipped over. I looked up at you, and I was like, "Oh my God, what do I do?"
No. I was leaning on the bar because my mate was in Melbourne. It was Cam, and we're sitting there, and John's fucking driving away like this, and he comes on the dance floor. There's no one else on the dance floor. I remember that, and he rocks out, and feet went out from under him, flat on his back. And he's like looking up at me, Bryan, I've fallen. And this is no shit how it sounded. Bryan, I've fallen down. What do I do? And the whole bar stopped and was looking at us, and I was like, we could start by getting you up on your feet. And you're like, and you could tell you hadn't even thought about it. You were like, you're right. And just jump back up.
Yeah, I'd have to say that trip. And then what's crazy is that we drank hard, and you know, you were reffing, and I wasn't competing, but it was just a good time to get out. I'd never seen Melbourne before. Then, you know, it was pretty nuts. That St Kilda's pretty sort of a crazy area and a bit of an eye opener. And then I remember that day, because in that place, you know, we were sharing that room, and you'd open your window and it went down to the downstairs room, and it was stinking hot. And I remember you just couldn't get any fresh air, and you opened that window, it was like, oh, then you were dying that day, absolutely dying. But yeah, that was an unbelievable trip. And then that one, and then Perth. Like, how much fun did we have in Perth? I met so many cool people. We traded so many different gyms. And yeah, just looking back, it's crazy. Yeah, we had a ton of fun. But even I remember that time, you know, like going back to the air that I had over that time. You remember when we were in Perth and then brother tried to train my ear? And everybody thinks cauliflower ear is like, oh, it looks cool. It looks like you do jiu-jitsu, but it's actually pretty horrible, because when you people land on you, your normal ear folds. But when this one goes, it like rips the back of your actual ear. So there's nothing really too good about cauliflower. Nothing good about it.
That was funny. I remember that quite vividly, because we were all sitting on the mat, and I think Victor and that, they shot down to the chemist to get, your ear was so big. Victor and I can't remember the other person, but they were the nurses, and it was just jabbing your ear and just draining it. It was funny as. You're like, oh, don't do it.
Yeah, I was straight. I was too much of a girl to sort of, well, you know, just too much of a wuss to do it myself. I was like, ooh, and so I really struggled. But Rick was real good at doing that. Yeah, and then even, he was real good at doing the old drainer. He got me a couple of syringes out of my ear, but I just sort of gave up in the end. But I remember even with your brother, like rolling with your brother there in Perth, he's an absolute murderer, and he was just smashing me. My ear was so sore, I was like, I can't take this anymore. So he's like, give me headgear. I had headgear on.
You see my baseball?
Yeah, well, he put such a hard, I think he was grabbing my head, and he put such like this pressure on my on the actual headgear, and it started to cave in and push on my ear, and I was like, Jesus Christ, brother's like.
I like the headgear because it protects you, but the plastic folds in, and you get the kind of, and it sounds like it's going to be a lot worse than it really is.
Yeah. Well, you know what the sound's like when somebody. I remember Saxon, Gordon. Saxon Gordon. He's the one who actually gave me it, and it never went down after. I remember we were rolling, and he sat on my head. He went, and I just
Merry Christmas.
I was like, oh yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So some good memories. But yeah, I think the other thing as well. Looking back, I remember Hayden with yourself, and you've been through a lot, Bryan, but like people don't realise the sort of work. I remember when we used to train together, you would be heading off and working sort of crazy hours, like working at night. You'd run a crew digging and sort of stuff like that. You're a busy person, and just the amount of hours you used to put in, and also now that we're running a gym, I realise how much goes on. It's sort of nuts to think, because you were busy, you were real busy, Hayden.
Oh, yeah, that's when I was working for the power company, so I was on call a lot of the time. So I was on call 24/7. So sometimes I'd go work, shoot in, do training, then go back to work for another 8 hours.
But I think on that same note, a lot of people won't notice, and you will never even say it, Hayden, is that's not even unique to that company. Every time you've had a job, it's always been fucking. Like, I don't even know how you sleep. I don't think you do sleep. When Hayden came to Ireland, he flew in on a Friday. It was a Thursday, but it was overnight. So I picked him up on the Friday. He wanted to roll that Friday. We had the seminar the Saturday, the Sunday, and then the Monday night. And then the Tuesday, he went home back to New Zealand and straight fucking landed and back to work.
Oh, yeah, had to work.
The jet lag. You skipped the jet lag.
It's like 36 hours. 36 hours round trip, pretty much, between fucking stopovers and that. It's fucking retarded. That's what it is. I couldn't believe it.
Between I think I worked it out. There was a difference of about 8 hours. So I was between flying and staying in like LA and all that kind of stuff, and Auckland and that kind of stuff. I was almost 8 hours short from being more time in airports and flying than I was actually on the ground.
We did a bit. We got a few things done in Ireland as well. Got some Guinness.
Oh, Ireland's a cool place. I really enjoyed Ireland. Island was it was a cool place, and it was a really good setup out that way.
Yeah, and that's what nuts. Looking back, you'd come in and most people be dead, and I suppose people are always looking for excuses. That's what's funny about this whole lockdown is that most of the times you have to drag yourself off the couch to go to training. Well, the hardest part is getting there. But now with this lockdown, everybody's like, you're regretting not going. You know what I mean? So it's like, isn't it nuts how things have changed? The amount of work.
On that same thing there, like we talked the other day, when you do, because you compete still, yeah? What weight do you fight at, and what's like because you told me your sitting weight was between like 73 and 75. So what do you compete at?
Yeah, so well, the funny thing is now, as you know what it's like, as you go up the belts, it gets worse because like less and less people do it now.
Yeah.
And literally, it's just you now end up going and I always fight heavier guys now. It's just what it is. And I think recently I fought at that sub only, which was a bit of a disgraceful performance. We won't go there, but I fought in Queenstown, and literally he was like, Jose runs a good thing down there, and that's why I like to support it. I like to support local things, and it's amazing. I think it's really good. But yeah, literally, he had nobody. So I was fighting guys. I was fighting Kieran's weight. Kieran's, 85 kilo, and I'm 74. I fluctuate. I can sit at 73 to 76, and I sort of fight now. But yeah, it's as you say, it's sort of tough. And either I'm going to fight probably, if we do regionals, and then I'll probably end up fighting teammates and stuff like that. So it's a bit tough. But yeah, it's the joys of being small in the community. You know what I mean? As you go up the belts, and you know what it's like.
Oh yeah. Here's me at 100 kilos, mate. No worries.
Yeah.
I probably added a few more on.
That's what I was going to get to. I was going to say, since COVID's kicked in, what are you fucking sitting on now?
Like, well, I don't have scales to weigh myself, but I literally, hey, Steve!
Hey, mate, we need to make this a thing. He needs to come in at some point of the time. Where's Stevie?
Yeah, Stevie. No, I don't put on weight. I'm one of those people probably gonna hate me, but I don't fluctuate much of weight, and I'm not a big eater. Well, I do eat every once in a while, but I don't fluctuate in weight, so I sort of like to stay that way. And then I keep getting told by Craig that I need to lift weights, but the problem is that it's like I work a full-time job, 8 hours. I lift, I can do wood fires a day, weigh over 100 to 200 kilo wood fires. You got to lift in the house, be in roof space, under floors, do a gas fitting, everything like that. So
trying to fit under the floors, looking like this.
Yeah. That's it. I want to be able to fit. So yeah, I'm sort of there's a lot going on, and I suppose I sort of just like it's too hard to sort of. I have to go up to get a lot more competitors, I suppose, in my belt ranking and stuff like that. Or I need to go down, which is hard as well because I've pretty much got no fat on me. So I just sort of like sit there and just if I have to go and do a higher weight, I have to go to a higher weight,
Yeah, because if you're not a big eater, lifting weights, you're just going to get sore and tired. You're not going to lift. You're not going to eat the fuel to build the weights anyway. So you lift all these weights and get no gains. You'll just look. Yeah. It's a cool Instagram posts and fucking nothing else.
Yeah, it's real tough. I suppose that everybody realises, it's like, hey, no, you work full time. Same with you, Bryan, and
I try.
That's what's crazy about do that they try and we all try and live this. It's a hobby, but at the same time, people take it so serious. Where you're traveling, you're paying a lot of money to fly. Especially around New Zealand, it's expensive, and then you pay for accommodation, you pay to compete and stuff. There's a lot on the line, and so. I don't know. With the gym now, there's so much going on where it's hard to any extra time you get. It's so tough. So lifting weights to me is sort of I probably need to do it to try and maintain. Like I know the boys like you need to maintain. You need to maintain so you don't get injuries and stuff like that. They reckon that's the big thing now, just lifting enough so you don't get injured, which I probably should look to do. Are you guys lifting at all?
I don't do like I was going to say then. Like my time is very busy. Oh no! Now something just popped up.
That's gold. There's no 40-minute time limit. Woo!
Hey,
I'll drink to
that. Come on. So I don't have time to. I want to make time. And I suppose it's not about being an excuse either. It's like, if I want to go and start doing weights, then, I'm 42 now anyway. So I feel weights if I want to get into it to compete. If I want to start competing again, Yes, I might start doing something for fitness, but then that means I got to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, go do something because I work all day, and then I'm at the gym for the kids' classes, and then I got the adults, and I'm home at 9 o'clock at night. So it's like, and I'm doing that pretty much 3 times during the week, and then I'm there in the weekends.
You got to balance it.
Something has to give. As it is, I probably more look on the getting massages now. For me, it's relaxing my body. No, Bryan. relaxing the body, and just getting my body fixed that way. Yeah. Plus, I'm also with the gym and all that. I'm really busy to even focus about competing, because that's one of the questions that I always get asked. Why aren't you competing anymore? Are you going to compete again? We want to see you compete. It's like, yeah, I'd love to, but I have so much other shit going on. And if I want to compete, I really focus on nothing but jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, well, it was that. The other thing about competing as well, you do have to be selfish as well. That's what people don't understand. And was that Christian, I trained with Christian there. He was at Axis. He's gone to Japan now. He was a real competitive sort of CrossFit stuff. We did some CrossFit for them, and he gave some good advice. He said to me, it's hard enough going out there when you compete, and you've got to fight your mind, and so you don't need any distractions. And I suppose like when he was there, I took that advice. When I competed, I did well, because I just like a lot of people will look up people on their records, and they'll check out what the person's up to and stuff. I try, and they talk to them before the match and stuff. But when I started ignoring people, putting my headphones in, it's not that you've been rude, but you really have to. There's so much mentally going on that can push you either way. You really have to focus and be like, nah, I've got to be selfish completely and utterly. And being a coach is real hard, because you obviously, you want to yell out for your students and stuff like that, and that takes energy away. So you really, I think, got to decide, if you're going to compete, that's got to be your selfish thing at that time, at that competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Like you said about the sub only, how you didn't want to talk about that one. That's probably another reason why, because that's the first time you've competed and been a coach too, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, no, I did, at Queenstown was the first time we did there. And I did all right down there. I was like happy enough, but there was James, amazing. He's a guy down in Invercargill, and he's a beast. He was a beast at Blue Belt. I remember watching him when I fought down there, and I won the gi, and then I lost no gi. But I won the weight class, and when we showed up, that one in Queenstown, even when I was a purple there, that they were like, oh, there's going to be under 80 and over 80. And so I was like, oh, sweet. So I went in there to weigh. And the lady's like,
big categories.
I was like, yeah, so you got under 80. And she's like, no, it's open. So the first fight Hayden had, he was a 110 kilo dude. And Hayden's like 65 kilo.
Yeah.
And then I thought, everybody there was bigger. Then I won that in gi, and then I lost in no gi. But yeah, that was, and then, sorry, what was I going back to?
Just your weight.
Yeah, I've lost it. And then, and so competing, that was all right. But and then so I watched that guy James fight at Blue Belt, and then I fought him again when he got his purple, when he beat me, and it was sort of tough to take in front of the team and stuff like that. But I did all right. But then this one recently at that sub only, I was screaming, yelling, and carrying on, and it really affected me. I don't want to take away from any of the boys, because they did real well. I had some, there's some real killers in that division that I fought. But I ended up getting shingles from that. I think I just got real run down, just a lot going on. And so it was just tough. But
it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard. Eh? It's just hard, because like you say, it's one of those things. If you're going to compete, you need to focus on that. And you get to a certain point where, I get more, I'm more proud of my students' achievements than I am of my achievements. Now, I've been competing now for 18 years. Since soon as I started doing jiu-jitsu, I competed. So I feel like I've done my side of things, but I love watching my students. I love watching the kids. And most people know when they see me at a comp, I'm running from one mat to the next, to the other, yelling and screaming. And I enjoy that. And then trying to focus on yourself competing, it's like, nah, that's gone. Because I remember doing it once. I literally ran onto a mat. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I lost it. I got up and I ran straight back off and started yelling because someone else was competing, one of my students. And Yeah, you know, so that's I can definitely see where that comes from.
Yeah, and the problem is as well that, like, you know, recently I thought of that sub-only, and I said to Carla, I'll do some reffing as well, which they didn't need me to, but, you know, I want to ref. I like to help out there because Carla runs a good thing. And so you try to ref, you also try to, you know, coach. And then he was like, I'll get your division up first. And he thought I was in the under 76 division, so they went first. But I was like, no, I'm higher than that. So I had to wait till like 4 o'clock. So you're not eat, because I don't eat while I compete as well. So like the whole day you're screaming, using this energy, screaming and carrying on and yelling towards people. You're running from mat to mat, and then, you know, you could coach, you could ref as well. And then you got to fight right at the end of the day. And it's pretty hot there. So I was like, you know, there's a lot of things going on.
Crazy hot.
Yeah, you've got to, I think if you've got to compete, you want to be competitive, you've got to be smarter about it and really plan for it. And then, as you say, zone out. And I think, yeah, that's what we're going to do next time. We'll sort of like, one of us is going to, because there's so many of us, will be like, you're going to coach this one, you're going to compete, and you just go do you know what I mean? And just smarter.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
If you, one of the things is, because now we're talking a wee bit about competing, do you get nervous, bro? And like, what do you actually do to help yourself with that kind of stuff? Or what do you do around your students if they're like, oh, coach, man, I'm like, oh, look, this is, you know, my butterflies are getting to me, you know, for you and potentially your students, what's kind of like the go-to thing for you?
Well, I suppose it's easier when you do compete. I suppose it's tough if the coach doesn't compete, he's trying to give you advice, because that's always tough. If somebody gives you advice, as you know, you've competed, and, you know, I think I took a lot from you. You scream and stuff, and I love that. I'm a yeller as well. People can hear me from across the back. A lot of people probably hate me. They look at me like, just shut up. But I love that you did that, and I suppose I do that too. But I think that the problem with it, it's like, I used to hate competing, and I actually give credit to Christian Carson. He said to me, bro, you're going to have to start competing again. You know, you're going to have to, you know, go out there and really go hard and just do it more. And the more I did it, it got easier. But I suppose you're always going to have butterflies. I don't actually enjoy it too much. It's not the most enjoyable thing I could do, but I know it's important because it proves your jiu-jitsu works, and you see what's going on. And when I feel it, I suppose it's the more you do it, the easier it gets. I always tell people, like, just keep doing it, and it will get easier. You know, it's like you make something that's not common and it feels weird. You make it just normal. So you normalize something that's not normal. You just keep doing it until it's not a big deal to you. And that's why I think, you know, watching this generation come through of kids, they're going to be absolute killers, because get rid of the nerves when you're younger, and the more you do it coming up through, you're going to be an absolute beast, and it's going to be like not a big deal to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You must think.
I reckon though, like in that same mindset, it's people overthink it, especially as adults, because you're doing jiu-jitsu for how many years, how many months, that's all you've been doing. You go to compete and you're like, fuck, I'm freaking out. And you're like, you know what? You've rolled for how many months, how many years. You're just going to go and do the same thing you've been doing, but now you want to win. It's not about playing the game. Now it's about winning. And kids just go in there, fuck yeah, let's have a go. Like I remember refereeing kids, and Sam McClintock's nephew got choked out. He jumped up straight away, gave the guys, oh my gosh, that choke was amazing. That hurt so much. I tapped out. How do you do that? And I was like, this is awesome. As an adult, you'd be like, yeah, I wasn't feeling very good, so I kind of got caught. But it was awesome. Kids just love it, man. They just jump straight in and just do it. That's what you talk about, man. Boom.
But I think people just need to realize that it's not. It's a feeling, like it, and you have to experience it. It's like you can't run from that, and you just have to do it. Like if you want to compete and you want to do well at it, you've just got to embrace that feeling, and like just it. Sometimes, you know, stuff in life's not going to be easy, and you just got to accept that. And the more you learn to just say, okay, well, I'm going to be uncomfortable with this experience, and it's probably not going to be the most pleasant, but when I come out the other side, there's a lot of reward from it. So I suppose it's just embracing the fact that you know it's going to be tough for a bit. And I suppose that's what people try to do. They always try to run and always try and feel good, but sometimes it's all right to just feel a bit out of place, or a bit, you know, like you're a bit anxious and stuff like that. And then, you know, once you get through it, you know, and then the more you do it, the easier that gets. And I suppose, you know, it starts helping you in all aspects of life. Right? But deep there, but deep.
Yeah. Well, I watched Jake Snake Roberts was on Joe Rogan, and they were like, "Oh, someone said something about shame," and he was like, "There's no shame until you bring it upon yourself. Like losing a competition, there's no shame unless you feel shame. But you can lose and know you lost trying your hardest, and then you're like, oh, that was awesome. Other people are like, oh, he must be so ashamed of himself. Like, nah, I'm not. Or you can win. You can win and feel shame because you didn't do your best. You don't have to feel the shame. You just have to go out, enjoy it. Like you said, man, half the fun of jiu-jitsu is the trips itself. Not winning and losing, it's the whole trip itself. Like, obviously, we weren't drinking while we were rolling. We were drinking before and after. But it's the whole trip itself, man. That trip was fucking ridiculously good fun. And ironically, I put the jiu-jitsu itself, the competition, as the second best thing about that trip, other than the trip itself.
Yeah, I suppose, if you want to get to know people and on a deeper level and really get a connection in the jiu-jitsu community where you make friends for life, go compete with them. Like, go do a trip, travel with those people, and you're forced to, like, hang out with them and get to know them more. And, like, the other thing as well, it's fine. I think people don't realize that, like, you know, when I lost recently, I didn't lose very gracefully at that competition. I wasn't very happy. I was kind of really pissed off. And, you know, I suppose it's not good, but it's okay to be pissed off. It's when you, like, fester and you, like, stop training. Yeah. But, like, that day after, I was pissed about my performance. And back in Monday, I was so angry about my fitness that I was like, look, I'm not going to let that happen again. I was straight on the exercise bike. And then I sort of cracked out in a rash. And I was like, shit, I think I got staph. And then I seen a doctor. Said, no, you got shingles. So it was like, I just got real run down. But I suppose you need to have those moments. And it's not excuses. It's just like you have those moments where stuff goes bad, you lose the stuff, you're angry. But it's like, how do you use that to redirect it? It's okay to feel that in the time and, like, don't fight that, don't bury it. But, like, come back from that and come back stronger, I think, is the one that
I totally agree, mate, because it's just like, you're not going to win everything. I think I use this a fair bit. You learn more from your losses than you ever do your wins.
Yeah.
Because I remember one time I was training in Perth and, like, I think it must have been Perth. Yeah, but me and my brother were doing a one-on-one and I got tapped like 5 times from the same choke. Oh. And it was a ridiculous thing. And I was just sitting there and then we sat down afterwards and he goes, man, stop, just stop and think about what's going on. Think about how I'm getting you into this. Not worry about the win or the loss. Just think about what I'm doing to you. Didn't get me again with that joke.
Yeah.
And so I learned, and I try to tell my students in that, look, if you lose or you're frustrated or something's happening, think about why you're getting frustrated. Think about why you lost, not about the actual loss. If you know what I mean, it's more about how you ended up there and where you can go from going forward.
Yeah, you're right. It's inspiring in the right way. It's like taking a shitty situation and making it good, because you have to, like, who wants to give up training altogether after a loss? Is like, as you say, everybody loses and you got to move on. I suppose it's a good lesson today. It's a hard one because it's easy to say, looking back now, you're like, yeah, but at the time somebody tells you, you're like, oh, whatever, like, it's okay to be mad for that moment, like, oh, huffy. Yeah, but I suppose, but then looking at it, like, with jiu-jitsu, like when I moved to Melbourne, that school that I went into with absolute Jesus Christ, like I remember just getting, people say to you, you just get hiding after hiding because everybody in there, you got like, guys are running, state champ and all this sort of stuff. You got guys competing to go overseas to do world and stuff like that. So everybody's coming up to just murder you. And, I'd leave that place getting tapped out 30, 40 times a night. Just getting absolutely murdered. And you think to yourself, you're getting up in the morning, you're training. It's not like I'm training like twice a week. I was training like 5 to 6 times a week, getting absolutely murdered, and you're just getting absolutely your ass handed to you, and you think to yourself, why am I even doing this?
Yeah.
But then later on, it's like, it pays off later on down the track.
Yeah. Oh, well, nice, man. Couple other, like, just going back on a couple other things. If you had to, like, one of my questions is, like, you've trained with a lot of people, Lachlan and Craig, and obviously there's a few other people in that gym that are doing really well. But, like, if you had to, like, pick one person you'd really like to train with, like who, you know, out there like that you just said, shit, fuck yeah, and one day I want to make a goal to get here, like, and train with this person? Who do you think it'd be, or who is it?
Like a coach or somebody just to roll with, or
Anyone.
Oh, just the whole thing. Like, if you said to me, like, I'm saying to you, like, who would you want to go and roll and be taught by and just do it?
Yeah, well, the dream would definitely be to go to the Blue Basement and hang out with the Death Squad, because those dudes, I think the way John teaches is unbelievable. So that would be like US. But I'd love to go around, like, in a New Zealand sense, because, like, you know, obviously we want to promote New Zealand stuff. I'd love to see some of these schools up north that are doing real well. Like, you know, you've got the Clark Gracie boys. They're doing unbelievable things. I definitely want to check out Steve Oliver. Yeah, those guys are killing it. And then also that Matt, you know, like, because I'm a smaller guy compared to these bigger guys, I'm really impressed with that Matt Meakin guy. You know, Matt Meakin, he fights out of Auckland there. That dude's a freak. Like,
He competes heaps too.
Well, yeah, and he's a little guy. He's smaller than me. Like, he weighs less than me, and he beats big guys at all these competitions, and he's nasty. And so, like, I'd love to sort of. It's hard at competitions because you're not very chatty, but like you guys probably want to chat to him. He's doing some great things. So yeah, I'd love to go up north and check out some of the up north gyms. Also go down south, check out, you know, all them. But it's hard, eh? You're so busy with the gym and stuff. It's hard to take time away. But you guys, who would you guys sort of like to train with if you could?
Hayden?
Oh shit, Hodger's mine. I've always wanted. I mean, my brother trained under Hodger for 4 or 5 years, but he's, you know, if I had to pick someone, it'd be Hodger and Marcelo Garcia.
Yeah,
they're like, for my, suppose you say, my era of jiu-jitsu, my, you know, I grew up watching them. As I say, grew up, I'm thinking I'm older than Hodger, but, you know, and when my journey with jiu-jitsu, but, you know, they're the people that I'd love to go train with. Just like I think my style is very similar to Hodger, but then I also like doing what Marcelo does. You know, he's got, and I did watch a podcast of him recently, you know, he's just not one thing that Marcelo is good at. He's multiple things that he's good at. So they're the two that's for me.
Yeah, I don't think people realise, like, the connection. Your brother, because I trained your brother is a murderer. He just wrecks people. He's a small guy. Yeah, how much does Stacey weigh? Stacey
73. He competes at normally, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I think he's around. I think he probably. I can't remember when he did compete anyway, but I think he sits around about 80 now, something around that. I think.
That first trip we did to Melbourne was the first time I'd ever seen Lachlan Giles, and then Stacey fought Lachlan in the quarters, I think, because I got to be the mat guy on the corner, and I was like, I've got the best seat in the fucking house. And that was when I became a fan of Lachlan Giles. I think he'd only recently got his black belt, I think. And that was when I first seen people start to invert. And I was like, when I go home, I'm fucking going upside down. I had no idea what I was doing when I did it, though.
Well, you know what's nuts about Giles is Giles was doing what people didn't do. You know, like, he was out. He was, talking about, like, he would go to different gyms and nobody's doing that. And do you know, apparently, I don't know if this, fat, like, I got told through Jamie, and then I was talking to Giles when he was here recently, but he didn't actually get his black belt through a Pacific person. I think he went to a seminar and there's like 5 people gave him a black belt. So he was this, like, guy who'd go around different gyms, and people were doing that at the time. And so he was, like, breaking the mold. And then even when you see it at school now, when people try different things, and I remember watching him compete at an event in Melbourne, another Pan Pacs, and he had 2 fights, and he was fighting the best dude out of Perth. There was some guy out of Perth who was like a freak. And he knew he had to fight him twice, and there was this guy that they had to fight. Both had to fight him, and they thought, oh, yeah, I beat him. So they beat him, and he knew he had to fight this guy twice. So he got into the guy's guard. He, like, let the guy Giles put in the guy's guard, got out past him, choked him, and was like, oh, okay, sweet. I know if I get to his guard, I'll be sweet, because he knew he had to fight in the finals. And then he went into the finals, pulled guard, and then beat him again. I was like, Jesus Christ, like, he was just a freak, you know, like.
Big guy, little guy.
Like that. But yeah, sorry, going back to your brother, I think people don't realise that your brother's so high level that, you know, he was under Hodger, and he got his brow about the same time as that Nick Nagorius guy who runs Brotherhood Jiu-Jitsu. And he's got, like, famous from getting a black belt. But your brother would have been, he stayed in London, he would have been a black belt under Hodger as well, you know what I mean? And that's the connection that we have here in New Zealand. It's crazy, yeah.
And Dan Strauss. I've seen photos of Stacey and Dan Strauss in their trip to Brazil. Yeah.
True.
Dan Strauss was,
Oh yeah, no,
Dan Strauss was tiny.
yeah. I think that was a trip they went there one time. I've seen photos and bits and pieces. I think he went with his Hodge's dad, Mauricio. He took them around Brazil and he entered a few comps there. I think he won. It's funny as it was. I remember seeing a photo of Stacey. They went to a competition somewhere in Brazil, and I think he entered the Open. And this South American dude was huge. I think Stacey had in the final. He must have beat him because Stacey was standing on the gold and the other guy was on the silver. I think the guy was still bigger than Stacey.
Yeah. That was Stacey did a seminar with us not too long after I started, and I asked him about that, and he won that one. He told me he did the half guard scorpion sweep. So remember the one here you go across and you grip the top to here, but he did the one where he pushed the gi underneath and he gripped the gi, and the guy didn't think he had it, and that's how he won the fight. And from that day, so I think I was a white belt 2 stripes. To this day, I still use the exact same technique he taught me because it fucking works every time, and everyone falls for it. Because you go underneath, you push the gi across, and like, he hasn't got it. He's got fucking fuck all. Pull across, boom, there you go.
Yeah, well, even that he showed me that choke. I think Phil Quarry loves to do it, where it's like you wrap the gi around the back and then hit it under, you feed it under the head and grab the choke, and then you use that sort of like the choke with the sort of head arm style choke. And I still use that. And your brother used it on me every day I was there and Perth, we rolled together. He smashed it with his like 30 or 40 times. I'm like, he's a freak, eh? He's a freak.
Well, what about Christchurch, man? Like, I mean, obviously you've been around the scene now for quite a long time, and you've wrestled some people through Christchurch. Just who do you enjoy rolling? And I don't know, just why is just for some of the boys here.
Yeah, well, we've got some real beasts. Like, so I spent obviously you guys know Ben Russ was under you guys. He was training up to his blue belt. That he's now at Axis now. He's a purple. He's an absolute nightmare. Like, we competed recently. I love training with Ben. Like, Ben's got a good, super nice dude. Looks like bloody. Don't let him take his t-shirt off. He'll steal your wife. I call him Superman. Literally, Superman. Dude's a freak. He's like a specimen. Looks like something that like God chiseled out of marble.
Gordon Ryan.
Yeah, he is. Gordon Ryan, as you say. He's doing amazing things. He's one to watch. And then Ezra, he's another guy who comes through. But then even the guys from our own team, like we've got, Kieran Smith. He wasn't training much, back in the day. He's got a he's busy with a kid and that, but now he's teaching, he's coaching. He's an absolute nightmare now, watching him just go through the roof. So I think watching the 85 kilo range, Kieran Smith, he's one to watch out for. He's an absolute killer at the moment. His leg lock game is like getting way better, hard to heel hook. We've also got a guy who walks through our gym. We're lucky enough to get a guy, Michael. He's a brown belt from Poland. When he comes through, he's about 80 kilo, a bit more. I could be wrong. He's a freak. He has got good. I haven't stood with him much, but he's got good. Yeah, he's really good. So it's because you know what it's like. Once you start a gym, it's hard to get the high level guys through the door, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just building for it, but having somebody like him in the gym, he goes hard. So we've got a lot of good guys. And then Ezra, I probably already mentioned him. He's an absolute freak. Learned quickly. He's doing real well. We've got Chris Carson. He's an absolute nightmare with his guard. Hayden Smith, so I've got good training partners, but I can always go down and you guys have, Forrest, yourself, Bryan, you're high level down there, John Erskine, he's an absolute beast. I remember, MMA sort of royalty of New Zealand. You've got the gym there. There's just endless amounts of people, and it's so hard because, we're so busy. It's hard to go amongst the gym. And then even went down to Roll One recently for that charity event down there. They've got some really tough guys, and Greg's an absolute nightmare. So he'd be a fun one to get on the chat. But he's an absolute beast as well. So I suppose every school, you guys, everybody's doing the right thing. They're producing people that are hungry, and it's going to be a good scene. I think New Zealand Jiu-Jitsu absolutely amazing, especially here in Christchurch. It's going to be exciting to see what happens in the next couple of years.
Yeah, for sure. And like the Polish guy, when I was in Poland, I got to train jiu-jitsu over there, and I was like, this would be fucking awesome. I did the class. Class was pretty full on, and then we did rolling, and I was like, oh yeah. And the coach came up to me. He was like, Rayo, so what you want to do is, I'll feature the guys in a certain order, and I'll build them up to you. And I was like, okay, cool. And he pointed me at this dude over in the corner, and I was like, cool, I'll roll with him. The dude looked at me. I had my black belt on, looked at my belt, and turned around real quick and rolled with this girl. And I was like, oh, fuck. And then I rolled this other guy. He's like, yeah, he'll be fine. And I was like, cool. I rolled this dude, fucking worst roll of my life. He was amazingly good. It was real backwards and forwards, scramble. This is the first roll of maybe like 5 we had. I had no grips already. And then the coach came up to me. He's like, yeah, okay, he was the last guy I wanted you to roll. He's really, really good. You and me will roll. And I was like, cool, we'll roll. And I've been doing judo for 2 years. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm confident. I'll take this guy down. Polish are fucking awesome wrestlers. I sit there. He pulls guard. I pick him back up. Fucking double leg. Up in the air. Smash me through the mat. So I was just like, yeah. I won't try and take these fellas down. I think I'll just pull guard.
Yeah, and you know what it's like now. Like we running a gym, it's crazy because we've had a lot of guys come through, like bigger guys. And recently, yeah, some of the guys you see, they do rugby. You know they're going to be good at takedowns. You're like, and you look at the size and you're like, he's 100 kilo. I'm not going to do this. So you sort of like immediately sit there. You're like, yeah, not a
That was one of my questions was takedowns or guard pull, because I was always, if they were smaller, I'd try to take them down. If they were bigger, I'd pull guard. But when I went to Ireland and I did judo, the coach was fucking massive. He's like 110 kgs, 4th degree judo, and I started to pull guard. He was like, Bryan, don't pull guard because it's part of our game. We know what we're doing. And then he showed me, like being rugby players, they'll go for the doubles. So they go low. They're already coming forward. If you come underneath, the throw's right there, and you can reverse it easily as long as you know what you're doing. So it's working on 1 or 2 throws or 1 or 2 reversals on bigger guys, and then you've got your 1 or 2 or 3 moves sequences for the smaller guys. And the more I did it, the more confident I got, not just in doing the takedowns, but if I got taken down, I wasn't too upset. Like, I didn't want to go in there, try and do a takedown, and then all of a sudden I'm fucking 3 feet up in the air, and I know I'm going down, I just don't know where. So now I knew if I got taken down, where I would land. And yeah, it's just the more you do it, the better it gets. So now I'm all about it. I'm loving it. I'm fucking taking people down all over the show. I love it.
Yeah, we didn't do. That was the biggest thing. When we started the club and then, Craig said to me, shit, if you're going to run a club and somebody stands up, you can't just sit down. You have to follow them up. So, I was worried about that. We were like, oh, we have to start watching DVDs on wrestling, which is hard. And it's hard to get, somebody come through. And so we were lucky enough that Tristan, he walked through the door and he had his son there. Awesome. Yeah, and he started teaching, and he's changed my whole game. Like, I used to blow over in a gust of wind, and I was horrendous on my feet. Like, I'm not going to lie, I was horrible wrestling, and he's changed my whole thing where I'm comfortable to stand now a lot more, and obviously it depends on what you're picking. If you're training with people, sometimes you look at the bigger guys, you're like, I might not go there. But I suppose, but the thing about wrestling is they don't mix weights as well. That's what people don't realise. In jiu-jitsu, you can fight somebody 110 kilo, but they never do that in wrestling because they just, they know there's so much advantage to that. So I guess it's hard. But but wrestling's kind of cool because it's a bit of a grind. And if you like grinding in jiu-jitsu, you'll love wrestling. So I like a bit of like a head clash, and you come in and you grind it out, and you're a bit of a whack for the old, I like that, clubbing each other and going hard and like, pushing the pace, but everybody's not, some people aren't into that, but I'm really enjoying, because we have wrestling on Thursday night, so I really enjoy that. But as you say, it can be it can be embarrassing when you get taken down. Jesus Christ, it can be hard, because we had that guy, Matt. Have you guys heard of Matt Tesla? He's a guy, Gary. Yeah, brown belt. He teaches out of Gary Toten's gym, and he's under Joel Danaher. He come over, and he's a freak. And he sort of was rolling with us, and he wanted to do a session. He said, I'll do a private with you guys, rah. So he set up a private with us.
I'm going for a piss. I'm back in a second.
Oh, yeah, right. And he did a bit of wrestling, and I remember I sort of grabbed a single leg. Oh, no, did I grab a single leg? I went in to try and I grabbed body lock, and he just hiffed me, and I was like, Jesus. So it can be fun, a bit of wrestling, eh?
Yeah. I mean, I've never been one really for the stand-up side of things. I mean, obviously you got to teach it and all that kind of stuff, because I've got my favorite. I'm a more of a just, no faking, no stepping, just shoot in and go. So if you're going to do that, Yeah, so my thing is, Nogi, I always find it because my knee. Obviously, the reason why I don't like standing up too much is over my time in jiu-jitsu and playing rugby league, I've got 9 screws, 1 plate in it. So I try not to put myself into situations where I can't control, and that stand-up side of things is one huge area for me that I can't, I don't know when you're going to shoot in on me. I can preempt it, but, there's always that opportunity that you shoot underneath or you go for a low single or to chuck me down and take my back. And that's probably where my knee feels most vulnerable with that situation. So I always like to be the aggressor. That one just like touch hands, where you go, boom, boom. And then if I miss it, sweet ass. And then we're on the ground anyway. So yeah, that's with me. But definitely like the more and more I'd started doing jiu-jitsu, it was an area that I needed to teach though. Like that stand-up side of things. Because it was just, we concentrate so much on the ground side of stuff that I feel a lot of schools were always missing out on that stand-up. So the more I teach it now, I try to put in, whether it's 20 minutes at the start of every class of stand-up, and then into technique, and then into rolling. So yeah, it's a really important one.
It's just always, you're talking about doing takedowns every class?
Yeah, just to talk about stand-up and that. But yeah, the other thing as well, I don't think people realise the injury that you sort of run, Hayden. Like, what's crazy is, you just let everybody know you've had some crazy knee injuries. And to think that, most people would never train again, but what you're coming back from, or you still train with, even in pain, is nuts. That blows my mind out. Which
I still may have to have another surgery soon. Because my knee keeps popping out.
Why are you laughing?
Oh, look, I'm never going to stop jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is just me. Like, I'll just deal with it and then move on. I can't change it.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it's funny because you look at certain people, and, some people don't train, and it's easy to come up with excuses. But then you're watching other people. Like, we've got a guy, Joseph Greenslate. He's a skinnier guy, and I've got a lot of time for him because he'll keep coming to the gym, and he'll be training hard, and he's got Crohn's disorder, and he'll have he'll be coming in the gym and going hard, and he has to stop halfway through because he's like, oh, my guts aren't too good. And he just keeps coming back more and more, and doesn't matter how many sort of, he takes a bashing, he just keeps coming back and back and back and back. And I'm watching his progress in such a short space of time, but he's one of those grinders. And it's funny, like looking at the sport, you get these people that are just so committed where you're like, Jesus, sometimes you're like, oh, I don't really feel like going down. And you watch these people that just keep coming back and back and back, and you're like, far out, I don't have it too bad, eh? So when I, just think about how hard you used to work, digging everything like that, and then you'd be in there with absolutely stuffed knees, operations and stuff like that, it sort of makes you think about how good you have it and how there's no excuse to really not train, eh?
Oh, look, I think people have got their own issues sometimes. And we look at your arthritis, you had to work through that. I think it makes you strong in some sense that, you're committed to your sport that you actually love, and that's probably the big thing. And we all know it, it's a very small percentage of people that actually get their black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yes, that number is getting bigger because more and more people are doing it. But the amount of people that I've seen come through the door that start Jiu-Jitsu, they go for a year or two, 3, 5 years, and then stop. Life gets in the way, injuries, family, all of that kind of stuff. And which is fair enough, but then there's just that small percentage that still keep going, and and to get to their black belt or their brown belts, or it's a really big thing.
Yeah, but you think about where, as Westerners, you need to have a prize. If you didn't have belts, if there were more belts, more people would do it. But because there's only the blue, purple, brown, and black, there's so many years between the two. If you've got to wait 2 years to get a belt, you're like, oh, why am I doing this? You need fucking verification. You need the stamp on your passport to say, yeah, he's good, he's done it, he's been there. Whereas, fucking, you look in Japan, they used to have the two belts. There was the white belt and the black belt, and then it was like you did it for a certain amount of time, and then you're a black belt. But then,
didn't the white belt just go to black because you didn't wash it?
Yeah.
That's a fucking myth. And
you
have to wash your belt.
No, we're going to have this question.
You wash your belt.
Nah, hang on. Okay, so look, we've been going for about an hour or so now anyway. So what we'll do is, look, we try to make up 5 questions at the end, John. They're not really into, it's just quick, like a quick answer kind of thing.
Yep.
So I'll whack these 5 out that I've got, and Bryan can do the next one for the next episode. So first question, your idol.
Well, yeah, I suppose Craig. I look up to Craig, because I get to ask him stuff. He's an absolute beast, and I look up to him, and it's good having him on board. So I'm just lucky enough. So yeah, I'd say Craig Jones. Yep.
Favorite comp that you've been in?
Probably the one we did, Auckland no-gi nationals with the boys in Auckland. That was a ton of fun. So I'd say that, or the Queenstown one when we went to Queenstown. Those two.
Okay.
And the George Michael Lookalike that you placed second in, that was pretty good.
yeah, that too. But we won't go there. That's it.
Favorite submission?
Mine would have to be reverse triangle reverse triangle from it's a weird position. I'd have to show it. It's in like a straight. I don't know what you'd call it, but I like doing it a lot. I do it when I'm competition a lot, and then I finish with like a Americana sort of style lock. It's a weird one, but yeah. Triangles.
Yeah, okay. So favorite move all up, whether it's a sweep, a takedown, a submission, back, I don't know, just a favorite move.
I'd say heel hooks. Anything to do with heel hooks, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then our last question: do you wash your belt?
Nah, don't wash the belt. I don't even use it anymore so much anymore. But yeah, well, I never did it. Never really. It gets pretty stanky. I think the wife's like, that stinks. You need to wash it. I suppose you probably should, but yeah, no, I didn't wash it very much. Another trick as well.
How do you get your belt stinky, mate? My belt never stinks.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's brown.
I'm a stinky person.
You got to wash your belt.
So I'm taking that as a 1. I'm taking that's 1 on my side.
Rightio.
That's a 1 on my side.
John doesn't even wear a gi, so we won't count that one.
Yeah.
Hey, look, John, man, it was awesome having you on. We could probably sit here for hours and hours.
Yeah.
And talk, but we got to try and cut this short a wee bit. Look, I really appreciate you coming on for our actual first podcast with a guest. No doubt that we'll get you on again. All the best for you and the boys going forward out of this pandemic, and I suppose you say it's almost going to be like a rebuilding or just getting back onto the mat. So thanks heaps, bro. It was really awesome coming on.
No, thanks heaps for having me, guys. It was awesome. I had heaps of fun. And yeah, for sure. How about with whatever? It's really good for jiu-jitsu. I really appreciate you guys doing this, and anything we can do to try and build the sport while we've got this time off. And as you say, we hear about everything around the world, but we don't hear about stuff going around New Zealand. So guys, let's get behind it, let's support it, and and show the love for the community here and build it. People get on board, and there's so many coaches out there that could give so much, so let's do it.
Yes.
Right,
Okay, guys. Sweet days, mate.
Peace heaps.
All right, so much.
Bye.
I could used to pausing this recording. Hang on, where are we?
Oh man, you always do this.